Hi everyone. I had something very interesting happen to me just now. It was very spiritual, and I felt like I met Satan and he gave me a message. I was at home and I ran out of ink in my printer, and I had to go to the mailbox. So usually when I have to go somewhere, my husband usually takes me, and I jump out of the car and I go in, and then I get back in the car. But for some reason, I just felt like I was being led. I was writing out some bills, and my husband was in the living room, so I come out of my office and I walk into the living room, and I said, listen, I got to go mail these. He says, well, you want me to come with you? And I didn't say anything, but he said, he says, I'm deleting all these pictures off my Facebook. And so I just kept walking. It was like I was in a trance. And he says, well, leave the door. I'll close the door. So I just figured he wasn't going to come and take me. So I got in my car. I drove to the mailbox, the post office, and then I went on to go to the Staples. And as I had a ream of copy paper and ink from my printer in my hand, and I'm waiting online. And as I'm waiting online, there's this short, very stout man leaning on the counter, and there's somebody checking out to the left. So I said to him, I says, are you waiting to get checked out? He says, no, I'm waiting for the guy to come out in the back. So as we're waiting there, he starts talking to me, and he says to me, do you watch the convention? So I says, yeah. I said, I didn't watch it today. I said, I watched it the other day. So he says, were you alarmed at the assassination attempt? So I says, yeah. I says, nobody expected that to happen. Of course I was. So he went on to say that, do you think that there was it was a little fishy that the Secret Service didn't pick up that man was on the roof, and that whatever. I says, listen, I said, I thought it was strange. I said, and then he started rattling off his credentials that he was in intelligence in the service, and he was in the Vietnam War, so he was a veteran. And so he's talking to me, and I feel like he's leading me in this conversation somewhere, like he is pulling information out of me, but he's taking me somewhere in the conversation. There's a destination to this conversation. So I said to him, listen, as a civilian, I said, we can only observe when something doesn't look right. I said, but we don't have information whether they were negligent or whether it was planned or nothing. I said, because we don't have any of that information. We can only say what we feel based on what we see. So anyway, the person that I'm waiting to check out left, and the lady called me over. So I said, listen, I have to go and check out now. And he said to me, he says, and this, he looked at me, and it was like he inserted something into me. He said, we are in trouble. He said, more trouble than you know. And he was like talking to me personally, more trouble than you think we're in. He said, we are not going to see an election. He said, there won't be an election. And he's looking at me, and it was like he was inserting this information into me. And he says, there's going to be a civil war. It was like I was sent there for this man to tell me this. So I had to go to the girl to check out. I couldn't really engage him anymore. And I was starting to feel uncomfortable because I felt that this was a spiritual thing. It didn't feel right to me. So I go and check out. I didn't want to talk to him anymore. So I leave the store and I'm walking across the street to get into the lot where my car was parked. And all of a sudden I fell on the ground. And it was like, I don't even know how I got on the ground. It was like somebody pushed me. And I'm laying on the ground and I'm saying, oh my God, I'm on the ground. And nobody's coming to pick me up. And I'm saying, Jude, if you don't get yourself off the ground, you're going to get hit by a car. So I fell on my left side. I scraped my knee and my hand. And when something happens like that, you get a surge of adrenaline that goes through your body. And so I got my things off the floor and my bag and myself, and I got in the car. And I had to sit there for a couple of minutes to just collect myself. And it was just, I said, what the hell happened to me just now? It was like I was sent there to get a message. And then I don't know why I wound up, something pushed me on the ground. I don't know, it was Satan talking to me or what. But yeah, and I came home and I was all shook up, and I was telling my husband, and he was upset. He says, I should have gone with you. He says, what the hell happened to the both of us? It was like we fogged out. I usually just don't go, at 6, 7 o'clock at night and go drive over to Staples and get one. I just don't do that. Usually my husband just takes me wherever I need to go. So, and I'm a bit creeped out. And it was somebody gave me the message. Somebody had to give me a direct message that we are not going to see the election this year, that civil war is going to break out, and that we are in worse shape than we realize in this country. And that was the message. And boom, I was on the ground. That was it, people. Yeah. And I just, other than talking to my husband, I didn't know who else I could tell this to. So I figured I'd come on and share it with you. Any ideas of what you think this all means, I'd be welcome to hear it. Thank you. God bless you. Have a beautiful evening in the Lord. Shalom.